Alright guys, welcome to geometry. It is September and we're taking a look at translations in the coordinate plane. Alright, so if you recall translations, we already talked about this. This is a slide transformation. Okay, so first let's talk about notation. You'll recall for reflections we use a capital R. For translations we're going to use a capital T. Now for the subscript here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to use a vector. So this kind of less than symbol here is more like a bracket. It's like a parenthesis. And what we're going to do here is we're going to have H, comma, K. Okay. Again, it could be AB, it could be XY, it could be anything, but I like to use HK. So here, what we have is this is going to be a transformation, let's just say of a point. A point would be XY. So we've got on the point XY. Okay, what this is going to become is the X is going to move H units horizontally and the Y is going to move K units vertically. So the point's going to become X plus H, comma, Y plus K. Alright, so that's how translation notation works. Okay, not too bad, pretty straightforward. Alright, so problems. We're going to see a couple different types of problems. All right, the first one, right, is going to say, given triangle ABC, find the coordinates of A prime, B prime, C prime under the given translation. Okay, and here they'll have to tell us that, A has coordinates -3, 5, B has coordinates 2, -1, and C has coordinates -2, -4. Okay, so there's our triangle. Okay, so for the first one here, we'll go ahead and we'll do a transformation with the vector 3, -2. Okay. Now we don't have to plot these points. We're going to do this on triangle ABC. Sorry. Okay. So we don't have to plot these points to figure out what it's going to be, right? So again here, we recognize that this is horizontal. Because it's positive, it's going to move to the right 3 spaces. Okay? This part is vertical. Because it's negative, it's going to go ahead and move down 2 spaces. So again, you can picture this in your mind, right? I go ahead here and do -3. If I move that horizontally 3 spaces to the right, if I'm at -3, I'm going to end up at 0. Right, but again, I can do that by going ahead and just simply putting A prime will be -3 plus 3, and then 5 minus 2. Okay, so again, you can see that this -3 comes from that part, this 5 comes from that part, and then this 3 goes right here, and this -2 goes right there. Okay, and so I can see that A prime is going to become the point 0, 3. Okay. B prime. All right, so B has coordinates 2, -1. And to that 2, I'm going to go ahead and add 3. Instead of -1, I'm going to subtract 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. And -1 minus 2 is -3. Okay. And then finally C prime, right, has coordinates -2 plus 3, -4 minus 2. And we end up with C prime, which is 1, comma, -6. Okay, so that is my answer right there. If I wanted, I could go ahead and I could do this on a piece of graph paper. I could plot the points A, B, C, and I can move each point 3 spaces to the right and 2 spaces down, and then read their new coordinates, and I would get the same thing. But that's how we do it without a graph. For our second example, we'll actually go ahead and do this one on a graph, okay? So this one's going to be a translation, right? And this time we're going to go ahead and use 7, -4 as our vector, all right? So again, I can see this 7 is positive, so I know it's going to move 7 units to the right, and this 4 is negative, so it's going to be down. If this was -7, it would be to the left, and if this was +4, it would be up, okay? And again, I'm going to do this on triangle A, B, C again, okay? But this time they're going to give me a graph. So here, I'm going to go ahead, I'll make a little graph, nothing too fancy, right? Here's my y-axis. Here's my x-axis. Okay. And our triangle is going to have the coordinates -5, 4. So here's A. B is going to have coordinates -1, 5. So there's B. Okay. And C is going to have coordinates -2, -1. So there's C. So this is triangle A, B, C. Okay. Now, like I said, we can go ahead and we can read these coordinates and then we can do our transformation, or we can just kind of follow these directions. We know we're going to move 7 to the right, and we're going to move down 4. Okay, so I'll do this one in pencil. So I'll go ahead and I'll move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'll move down 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be A prime. Okay, B is going to move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I want you to notice here is the relative position between the 2 points, right? To go from A to B, I go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. So to go from A prime to B prime, I should go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that that relative position is preserved, okay? Now for C prime, I'll do the same thing. I'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. And this point down here will be C prime. And again, if I go ahead and connect it, I can see I end up with the exact same triangle, just shifted 7 spaces to the right and 4 spaces down. So this is isometric in that it preserves the size and the shape. And by shape, we mean both the length of the sides and the angles. Okay? Our next example is going to ask us to go ahead and do this backwards. So here you can see we have the original image, S, T, U, V in black. And then there's some sort of translation that yields S prime, T prime, U prime, V prime. Okay? And so to go ahead and figure out what that translation rule is going to be, we simply go ahead and take a look at what the spaces are. So here I'm going 1 space to the left and down 2 to get to S prime. For V, I go 1 space to the left and down 2 to get to V prime. T, I go 1 space to the left, down 2 spaces to get to T prime. U, I go 1 space to the left, down 2 spaces to get to U prime. So I can see here, for each of these, I'm going to go ahead and go left 1 and down 2. So think about what your vector is going to have to look like. So this is going to be a translation. Since it's to the left, that's going to be -1. And since it's down, it's going to be -2. So there is my transformation, my translation kind of rule. And I'm doing that on STUV. And it yields for me S prime, T prime, U prime, V prime. So that's what my transformation rule is going to look like to describe that transformation. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to look at is composition of transformations. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some composition of translations. All right. So here, for this next problem, we're going to say, what is the transformation rule for the composition of the following translations. Okay, and we can actually do this not just for a composition of translations, but we can actually represent a composition of two horizontal reflections as a translation, or a composition of two vertical reflections as a translation. Okay, so here, it's really not too bad. We're just going to go ahead and have t -3, +4. And this is the symbol for composition, and we're going to compose this with t of -1, -3. Okay, and we'll do that on triangle ABC. Okay, so this will be A. So here, if we take a look at this, think about what this is telling us to do. So when we do this, we actually read this one first. You always start with the one closest to the input, so we'll do this one first, and then this one second. So what this is asking me to do is this is asking me first to move it left 1, and then down 3. And then second, it's going to ask me to go ahead and move left 3 spaces, and then it's going to go ahead and say move up 4. Well, think about what the net effect of that would be, right? If I were to move left 1 and then left 3, that'd be the same thing as moving left 4 spaces, right? So I can combine that as being left 4 spaces. And if I were to go if I were to go down 3 and then up 4, that'd be the same thing as just moving up 1 space. So this transformation can be written simply as just moving -4 spaces horizontally and 1 space vertically of triangle ABC. Okay, so again, you can kind of picture that in your mind. If you were to graph and actually perform the transformation first and then second, you would find that it's the exact same thing as just doing this to the image. So finally, we're going to take a look at composition of two reflections. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and we're going to imagine that we have a reflection, right, about the line x equals -3. And that's going to be composed with a reflection of x equals 2. Okay? So we want to go ahead and we're going to say that this is a composition of reflections on triangle ABC, and we want to rewrite it as a single translation. Okay? Now, we know we're going to go ahead and do this one first, and we're going to do this one second. Okay? And if you want, you go ahead, you could perform this. Now, this is two vertical lines. So because this is two vertical lines, you can imagine if I were to take my pen and flip it horizontally over one line, and then flip it horizontally over another line, all right, I end up with the same image, just translated to horizontally, okay? So because this is horizontal, the trick here that we're going to do is we're going to take this number, and we're going to subtract this number, okay? So we're going to do -3 minus 2. And what that gives us is -5. So this transformation is going to be the exact same thing as moving 5 units horizontally. Now, because these are both x values, I'm going to rewrite this as t translation -5, 0, because it's not going to move vertically at all, of triangle ABC. Okay? And this is a little bit tricky, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and convince you that I'm not lying by using a piece of graph paper, okay? So here, we've got a piece of graph paper, right? And I'm just going to show you this with any point, right? So here, right, we've got our vertical axis and our horizontal axis, okay? And we'll go ahead and we'll just put point A right here, okay? Now remember that this right here, we're doing the reflection of x equals -3 composed with a reflection of x equals 2. Okay, and we're just going to do that on point A. Okay, of point A gives us A prime. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and draw those lines in. So first I'm going to start with x equals 2, because remember, right, we do this one first. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to go to the line x equals 2. So here's the line x equals 2. So that's going to be my mirror. Right? Remember this from reflections. So I count how many spaces this is to the left of the mirror. I move it that many spaces to the right of the mirror. So here we can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces to the right. So this here, we'll go ahead and let this stand in. We'll call this A prime for now, even though technically A prime is going to be our end result. Okay. Now in pencil, I'm going to reflect it over the line x equals negative 3. So we're going to see 1, 2, 3. Here's negative 3. So here's the line x equals negative 3. And if I count out the number of spaces now, I can see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spaces to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and move it 11 spaces to the left. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spaces to the left. And I'm realizing now I made a mistake. So this will be A double prime. Okay, I realized that the mistake I forgot was on the last page. We have to double this. So it's this times 2. So 2 times negative 5 equals negative 10. So this actually should have been T negative 10, 0. I forgot to double it. Okay, so there's a translation left 10 units. I forgot to double it. Okay, so this is what my answer should have been. So now take a look at what happened here, right? If we go back to our graph, what actually happened here was this moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces to the left. So again, please make sure that you double that. I'll show you one more example. This time it's going to be vertical, right? So here, if we have a reflection over the line, y equals negative 2, okay? And then we'll go ahead and compose this with a reflection of the line y equals negative 6. All right, and we're going to do that on triangle ABC. This time I'm going to remember to double it, right? I'm going to go ahead and take this number, negative 2, minus this number, negative 6. Okay, negative 2 minus negative 6, negative minus negative becomes plus a positive, so negative 2 plus 6 is equal to 4. And then I double that, right? Don't forget to double it like I did the first time. So here I get 2 times 4, which is 8. Now again, because these are y values, it's going to go ahead and be vertical. So there's going to be a translation, 0 horizontal move, but it's going to move 8 spaces up. All right, and that's going to be triangle ABC. All right, hopefully that didn't get too confusing there. Where I forgot to multiply by 2 the first time. So again, please make sure after you subtract them, you multiply by 2. Okay? And that pretty much does it for notes for today. Please go ahead and complete the assignment on Canvas and submit that. And please email me early and often if you have any questions. All right, take care.